Hey everyone, it's Marco again. Haven't made a video in a long time, but I tell you what, playing Resto Druid in Classic Anniversary has made me want to make a video. Now, I'm going to start off with MC, go into BWL, go into the current AQ, how I'm doing in all, how I did in all three, and what I'm doing for Nax, and talk about how to play Resto Druid at a really high level. I have never healed before, which is a testament to how strong Resto Druid is. It's just got to be played right, and part of the reason I think I'm parsing so well is because so many Druids are not playing their class correctly with the changes. That's something I've noticed about Classic players. They're so stuck in the mud with how the game has been played and, you know, quote unquote the meta, that they're very slow to adjust to changes and update their metas. And then there's a breakthrough, and everyone just takes the new meta, as if like the previous meta never existed, right? All they need is a couple of people to show them the way, and they pick it up. So let's try to be that person. So never healed before, but in MC I ran this spec, Swiftmend, and I was number 1 Alliance Night Slayer. Horde Resto Druids, I actually have a better time because they don't compete with 6 priests in their raid, and so their hots tend to like last a little longer and be a little more productive on the raid. But the key to Swiftmend healing is to heal the tanks. Okay, so in MC, let me paint a picture for you. I would go into the boss fight with a 15 or 30 second timer pre-pull, and I would put hots on all 3 tanks in 9 seconds. And then as we were pulling the boss, I would pop like a mana pot and a demonic rune, and I would get most of my mana back that I had spent and go into the boss fight. So I was popping a rune and mana pot every single fight at the start of MC because I didn't have a lot of gear. I actually joined 2 weeks late to Anniversary, and so I was way behind. But even then, I was just pumping out parses doing that. In MC, there's just so many fights where you have multiple tanks that getting the hots on all the tanks as they start to take damage takes too long. So you've got to pre-hot. So that was really important. And then also having pre-hots meant that I could do a Swiftmend on any tank, whichever one happened to get unlucky first and get hit big, like by a crit. Then I would just maintain hots on the tanks, double hotting them as much as I could. You can't double hot for very long. It's just too expensive. Excuse me. And then I would do a regrowth on raid members who were weak. So I would do like a rank 3 regrowth. And if we were running between fights, I would use rank 4 rejuve on the move because I knew it was going to actually tick. Rejuve, for the most part, just gets sniped to hell on Alliance. You very rarely get to blanket the raid and rejuves. That is until IQ, but we'll get into that. So, that being said, this was my spec. What would I change if I went back, now that I kind of know how to play? I would take points out of Improved Rejuve, because it's very much a bait talent, and I would put them into Subtlety and Nature's Focus, because Improved Rejuve is plus 30 healing to Rejuve. It's 33 or whatever. It's not that great. It only applies to the base healing of 0. It does not apply to any spell power, there's spell healing that you have. So I would take those points out, probably put them into Subtlety and Nature's Focus, because you'll notice in MC that you pull threat like a mother trucker, and it's crazy. And I had to get bopped or use a lip constantly, especially with the triple tank healing. That was MC, got number 1 Night Slayer Alliance, and I think I was like number 11 World. Okay, so that was my initial learning the class. Hadn't experimented with other specs yet. I go into BWL, I still have this spec. I start to get to tier 2, and when you get to tier 2, you have minus 0.2 to your regrowth spell. Now, regrowth without that is 2 seconds, right? So you're a half a second slower than the rest of the raid, and it's really inefficient. And if you go with like a low rank Healing Touch, let's say Healing Touch rank 3, it's also a 2 second cast, right? So that's more efficient, but it just takes so long to hit the raiders. And especially on Alliance, you've got people constantly AoE healing their groups and sniping you, and the paladins are all flash healing. It's just very hard to compete. So you're forced to kind of hot the tanks and just keep hotting them. 1 second. Is ranged. You want about 100 FR. Sorry, let me just stop replying to whispers so I can do this video. Okay, so going into BWL, I still had this spec, and I did really well on the longer fights. But on the shorter fights, I started falling behind. I had 99 Chromag, and I had 99 Nefarian, and then I had blue parse Veilstraz, and I had blue parse Firemaw, blue parse Avenrock. I was like, what am I doing wrong? And then I started, talking to other druids, and I learned about Regrowth spec. Now this spec is probably the best HPS in the game theoretically. Okay, theoretically. Even if a priest is AoE healing their group and the whole raid's taking damage, your regrowths over time, if you apply enough of them, can do more healing. Okay? Because, and this is the key, Nature's Grace applies a 0.5 second reduction in your heals, but it also applies to your global cooldown. So every bit of time that you get below, every reduction below 1.5 seconds is massive, because you get to cast at that rate. Now, if you go below a second, it doesn't help. The global cooldown, will always be a second. So, if you do the math on this, if you get 4 out of 5 improved regrowth, that's 40%. If your base crit is about 10%, you've got a 50, and then that's before world buffs, right? World buffs actually make this spec pop off. Before world buffs, you've essentially got a 50% chance to have a less than 1.5 second cast, which makes you go from the 2 second, hey, just fairy fire, dude, you don't do that much healer, just hot the tanks, to, oh my god, you're doing the most healing in the game, this is insane. The catch is, you've got no mana and you run out really fast, so you've got to really restrict yourself and be careful and utilize things like lower ranks of regrowth, like rank 3 here, to try and save some mana, especially when you're healing the raid and, they don't need a 4k healer, I'm sorry, a 2k healer or whatever. You can get away with these lower ranked heals. But on Firemaw and Veilstraz, I went from blue parsing to straight 99ing those fights because of the spec. And if you just look at it, like if I'm casting the lower rank regrowth, and if I get the crit, then I cast it again, look how much faster that is. So I'm casting faster than the rest of the raid, and getting more globals in during the fight, and my regrowths are ticking on fights where, like Firemaw and Veilstraz, where it keeps, dealing damage over time. So you start doing max rank regrowths, 1.8 seconds, now they're 1.3 seconds, your fastest caster in the game, and they're ticking, it's great. Started popping off there, got all 99s, was rank 1 Alliance. Resto Druid on Night Slayer. A million caveats. Rank 11 World, or actually, I might have been rank 14 World for BWL. So MC BWL went great. Got my 8 set. I got a Rejuve gem. Thank you very much to my guild. Nevermind, they gave me the Rejuve gem first, which is, with how much hate druids get, I'm so grateful at the faith they put in me. I really appreciate my guild. And we also short healed a lot, which really helps with the parses, honestly, is having less healers means there's more healing for you to cover. You can probably still 99 even with a lot of healers, but it's rare. Okay, now, the other thing I want to mention is I did decurse, I did dispel. Druids, really, losing a global does suck for your parses, but if you work as a team and you all do it, the boss dies faster and it actually helps your parses. So don't let people tell you that, like, oh, if you want to parse, you just don't decurse, you don't dispel. No. Or don't cleanse. No, you just need to spread it out. It's the prisoner's dilemma, right? Okay, so that was MC and BWL. Riding high. I'm so stoked. I'm #1 server. I've never healed before. I have the biggest ego in the world. I go into AQ and I'm running Swiftmend again, because rank 11 Rejuve comes out. And my rank 11 Rejuve is like 500, or I think it's 470. There's 430, sorry, in this setup with the lower healing. And if I go with more healing, 480. Okay, that's because I'm not in the Swiftman spec right now. This adds 30. So my rejues were doing like 500, which is awesome, and they last 15 seconds. Amazing. And week 1, I'm like I think I was number 11, week 1. And then week 2, I was still like really high ranked. I was like number 11, number 15. Week 3, number 20. Week 4, 30. Like I started falling behind. And then by the current week, which is 1 week before AQ ends, I'm ranked 57. Okay? And I just couldn't. I'm looking at all these logs and I'm like, why am I not beating these other druids? Like, and some of them were in worse raids, and so they're just putting out more HPS than me, like for longer periods of time. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And I started really looking into it, and I realized that the key ingredient I was missing was Idol of Health. I had picked up Wuxulei's Charm, and I was using it, but this Idol of Health takes Wuxulei's Charm and puts it on another level, especially if you combine it with Nature's Grace. And this is my last week of raiding, so, you know, I sigh. Maybe I'll get a chance to make a comeback, and I don't think I'm going to be number 1. There's no way. I'm like 200 All-Star points behind. But maybe I can get back to top 5. I don't know. We'll see. But I've realized this is the secret. I'm passing this on to you because it's probably going to be really good next. If you're not going to run a Swiftmen build, which is perfectly fine, by the way, and you can 99 with Swiftmen build, and it's super reliable tank healing. But if you're going to go with a Regrowth spec, which is way better at raid healing and just really pumping up your overall HPS, here's the combo. Okay, now you can also throw in the Hero Charm. Now, something I was told was that Hero Charm shares a 30-second CD with Wuxulei's. That's not true. If you pop either of these, they don't put the other one on DR. Or on CD. So you can actually pop these together, which is insanity. When we have these 30-second and 45-second fights and 1-minute fights, to have 20 seconds of this much plus healing, I know it doesn't go down every time you cast, it's just ridiculous. But once you start getting into the longer fights, like 2 minutes, you definitely want to rejuve gen over a CG Charm. But for the short fights, oh my god. So let me put on, like a really high plus healing set, and let me just show you the combo of everything put together. Fudge, sorry, I have to go back and pull it up. Idol of Health reduces the base cast time. I wasn't sure about this, but it reduces the base cast time, and I just got this like a week ago. So I finally get to play with it, but it's the last week of the season. So that's my excuse for not doing well, even though I probably made a lot of other mistakes. But learning this tech is massive and is hopefully going to make a difference for me. So Healing Touch goes from 3 seconds at max rank to 2.85. Let's pull out the calculator. 2.85 times 0.6 is 1.71. If I cast max rank Healing Touch, which heals for like 4k in this set, and crits for 6k, I can do that every 1.21 seconds when I crit. Right? Because of Nature's Grace. If I want to be a little more mana efficient, I can go with a rank 4 heal, which is going to be like 2k healing. And if I do the math on this, 2.35 times 0.6 is 1.41. So I can hit 1 second healing with Healing Touch. If I go with this one, it's a little more than 1 second. But it's going to cost me all my mana, but let's pop all our cooldowns and see what is possible in 15 seconds for a Resto Druid. 6k. And look how fast the second heal comes out. 1 second heal. In theory, it is a 6k per second healing for 15 seconds. Now, if you were to pull this off in a raid, that's all your mana. So you're going to want to, before you start doing that, pop an Innervate. And then when it ends, pop your Demonic Rune and your major mana pot. But 6k potential, 4k minimum. Or not 4k minimum, I think it's like 1.6k if you're not critting. because it takes the full, 1.5 seconds versus 1 second. So you go anywhere between 1.6k and 6k healing per second. This is why I've fallen off. I didn't know this tech, and now I'm passing it on to you for Nax. When I go into Nax, quote unquote progging, I don't know how much progging we're gonna do. We're probably gonna clear, if not week 1, definitely week 2, as everyone gets frost resist. But I'm gonna run probably this set to be safe. 8 out of 8 max rank rejuves on the raid and on the tanks, and just maintain hots on the tanks. Not a lot of regrowths with a Swiftman build. And then as I get more comfortable, as I learn the raid, I switch from the Swiftman build to the regrowth build, and I go for Parsons. Okay, but this is really like, I wouldn't say selfish, it's risky play, because you lose so much mana and MP5, and you can set yourself up for failure if you blow all your mana on the wrong time. And I just don't know how long the next fights are going to be with people in rank 14 gear, so I probably won't switch to the spec unless the fights are quick and I get comfortable. Because again, I never played AQ or Nax before, so a bit of a learning curve. So for AQ right now, I'm 57 world, like 8 or 9 Alliance Night Slayer. Maybe now that I know this tech, I get one good raid in, throw up a Hail Mary, maybe I end up catching it and getting back at least close to number 1 or top 5 even. But who cares? I'm having fun. You can't be number 1 forever. But I learned a lot. I hope this helps you. Fight for your innervate. Use mana pots and runes throughout the raid as much as possible. Another tip. Night Dragon's Breath and Combat Mana Potions are real nice for popping when these are like 9 silver, and then the equivalent Superior Mana Pots combined with Dragon's Breath are really nice to pop during trash to just keep your mana bar up without spending like a ton of money and time from farming demonic runes and major mana pots, which you should be using on the bosses. And another key thing is to not wait until you're to use this stuff, but to use it at the moment where it's maximum mana back. So if you're at like 60% mana, pop that major mana pot. You get back down again, pop that demonic rune. What else? Eye of the Dead. Probably the most important part of this video. On Saffron, Eye of the Dead can drop, and it gives you 70 plus healing all the time, which is why everyone wants it. And then for 5 casted heals, it gives you 450 healing in 30 seconds. But here's the kicker. A hot is not a casted heal, according to Blizzard, according to their spaghetti code. So if you don't cast 5 times, if you restrict yourself to only casting, say, 4 regrowths or 4 healing touches, for 30 seconds you have 450 plus healing on your rejuves. That's insane. That's going to be like 600 to 700 healing on a rejuve every tick, every 3 seconds. You put that on 10 people, that's 6k healing, like every 15 seconds. That's insane. You have to give it to your druid in your raid. If you don't, you're trolling. I've heard people say it's like 10k plus healing for the druid on every fight. It's just ridiculous. Definitely give this to your Resto Druid. Prio it to your Resto Druid. Resto Druid, Innervate Mafia all the way. Don't give your Innervates to the priests unless you're like super undergeared, because if in the right hands, a Druid with Innervate can be the best healer in the game. Keep the hots on the tanks, regrowth heal the raid. As you get the Idol of Health opens up opportunities for you, lets you do that combo I told you about, and it also lets you cast a rank 3 healing touch at 1.85 seconds, which is what your regrowth was, 1.8, right? So now you can do a much more efficient heal that is somewhat competitive with the other raiders, especially on Alliance, where there's just a million paladins and priests all flash healing and AoE healing their groups, so it's hard for the druid to get their healing touches. This makes it a little easier, lets you save a little mana on trash and whatnot. I'm rambling. This has been Marco. Because of all the druid hate that's out there, we've got to at least get to the point where we accept that druids are healers, and in the right hands, with the right gear, the right spec, they are just monsters. And especially when you're short healing, they can become like the main healer of your raid. But they won't, and people will still consider them as bad as Ret Pallies until they become the meta. Alright, peace out. Good luck and have fun.